Today on Too Many Projects Garage, it's hot, and we've got back on the Pulsar. The transmission is still stuck in 5th gear, so we've got another transmission right over here in this trash bag. We're going to try to make it work, but before we get into it, we're going to take this transmission apart and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Stay tuned. Let's get this thing jacked up in the air so we can get the transmission out. Once we get the transmission out, hopefully the other transmission that we have will be good enough. And we're going to take this one apart and see what the heck's going on with it, why it's having issues. We got it jacked up. You can see, got plenty of room up under there now. And we're going to chock the back wheels along with using the e-brake, just to be sure it doesn't roll on us, which I don't think it will, but just to be sure. Can't hurt, right? And yeah, we're going to start taking some bolts off the transmission. Probably take the starter off first because it's really easily accessible. Look how easy it is to access that starter. Just whip that out of there so it's not there, and then we'll start taking apart the wheels too so we can get the axle shafts out. We got the case broke open, this transmission, and he's going to lift it off. We're going to take a look at the inside and just see how everything looks. We're thinking it's probably going to be good. Ooh, uh-oh.
Ah, it's just the bearing.
The bearing. You can't lose these shims. But yeah, look at that. It's clean up in here. So we're thinking that the only downside of this transmission, this is out of a Nissan Sentra, and this is a Pulsar obviously, but they take this similar transmission. But the only thing is, when this one's in 5th gear, it just pops out of 5th gear. For some reason.
It's been in the car before.
Yeah, we had this one in the car last time. We thought the transmission was going out. Now we think that the CV joint totally failed and was locking up, causing this thing to causing us to think it was this transmission. And when we replaced this transmission with the other transmission, we then went in and replaced the CV joint. So, you know, we kind of ruled it out at that point, and it was fine. So, yeah, it looks really nice in there. Very clean. No, the gears don't even look worn at all. They look really nice. Synchros look good. I mean, as far as I could tell, it's pretty awesome looking. It's cool seeing these things all taken apart. So what we're going to do here in a little bit is we're going to pull the other transmission and we're going to pop it open and we're going to compare, just so we can see what the difference is and what's messed up on that one, causing it to be stuck in 5th gear. All right, guys. So we're taking this apart. We got the caliper off, got it detached from the shock, is what I'm trying to say. The strut, that's the word. And I'm gonna take the tie rod out. I don't necessarily need to take the tie rod out, but I feel like doing it so I can get this this axle out. So, and it's quite violent when it comes out. Oh, violent. You're saying to do, Tom?
I can hold it basically while you like wrestle it out of wherever.
Wrestle, there you go. It's still stuck on the
CV shaft.
There goes the
Hopefully we didn't break something.
I don't think we broke anything. Oh, got it out, yay! Maybe we need two, like, I remember it being a nightmare to take apart before, and I bent it all up.
It's coming.
Oh, I think you're getting
It's
somewhere.
basically there. Just pull on the cup.
Oh, no, I can't.
Okay,
keep going. It's too... Just stick it in there more.
I don't want to bend the cup more than I have
bend
to.
it back.
Like, this was working a second ago.
Oh my god. You just drank some soda, guys, so that's why.
God.
Here, give me this.
Oh, he's just going to jam it in there.
I'm tired of waiting. Or I'm not. There we go. This is like the most intensely attached CV joint I've ever seen. Look at this. We had to like bend that all up trying to get it out. Annoying. So now we're going to bend that back. Alright guys, we're going to take this one apart and we're going to compare. We can see what went wrong with this one We're pretty sure it's a synchros, but we'll find out.
Hey, there it goes. That's broken loose. There it is.
We're investigating. We're trying to figure out what the issue is, why this thing's decided to crap itself. It only turns.
This is moves up and down. That's the shift fork for whatever gears these are.
It's in gear right now, which is 5th gear, I'm sure.
Right.
And that's what's stuck in. So we disassembled the transmission a bit, and I think we found our problem. We've got a razor thin shift fork and a little plastic piece that kind of pushes the little synchro things or whatever that is up and down. Totally just gone. So that's where the sparklies came from that came out of this. We couldn't get the plug out, so we put a big old bolt on it. We welded one, and now we're going to see if we can chooch it off here. See what happens. There we go. It is out.
You can just use it like this, right? And put it
You
right
could, maybe. Anyways, this is what we're going to use, this one. Colin, the cleaning master, did his magic on this, and it looks pretty nice. Definitely a lot cleaner than the exterior. It's pretty rough, but we don't care about the exterior. We can wash that when it's all put together. We're gonna go ahead and put this back on. We're gonna pop out the seals because we've got 2 new seals, and we'll get it all back together, and then we'll get it in the car. So we're kind of stuck. This flywheel, which is the flywheel we need to use with the new transmission, is for a non-turbo car, and the flywheel that is in it right now and clutch is for a turbo car. They use different starters, so the flywheels are not compatible with the other transmission, which is unfortunate. And the clutch plate, or the clutch and pressure plate, is way too big. So we're gonna get a new clutch for this. You guys will see us here in about a week, or 2 weeks, maybe 3.
2 weeks later.
And just like that, we're back, and we got Jacob here. This is about a week later since the last clip. And we're where we left off. So basically, Colin left me a good old message here to brake clean this, as you can see.
That's what good friends do.
Yeah, that's what really good friends do. So appreciate you, Colin. Not that I probably would have brake cleaned it, but I appreciate the reminder anyways. And we've got in the mail the new clutch that we were looking for, because the old clutch is way too big for this flywheel. Look how tiny the clutch is. Like, look, my hand is bigger than the clutch surface, whereas here it's about the same size as the clutch surface. So you definitely see a difference there. So we're gonna open up this box and see what we got in there. Now, as you can see, my shirt's a little too nice to be working in here, so I'll be changing that shortly. So when you see me change a shirt, just be aware, that's why. Ooh, a box within a box, wow. This thing only costs like 40 bucks, it's super cheap. And oh yeah, that is exactly the clutch that we needed. We got the pressure plate. We got a new bushing. It even comes with a new throw bearing. Perfect. Next thing we're gonna do is pull out the flywheel that we are not using and then put on the flywheel we're going to use with the clutch and everything. You'll see that next. Check it out. Jacob cleaned it all up nice and pretty while I pulled off the old flywheel. As you can see, this one is much smaller than this one. So in terms of like the surface material, here, let's actually grab the new clutch here. That's how far out the old clutch went. So it's quite a bit smaller. This one, perfect fit. Perfect fit. Oh, and our little shop cat, his name is Garfield, he likes to jump on everybody when you're not looking. He just jumps on you. If he finds an opportune moment, he jumps on you, and his nails are sharp.
Yeah.
And they poke you.
To be fair, I did invite him.
He's a cute kitty.
He's cute though.
He's a cute little boy.
Buddy.
He's very friendly, extremely friendly. One of the friendliest cats I've ever even interacted with. So
Like it does.
he's a great little cat to hang out with out in the shop. I'm putting this flywheel back on. Got all the nuts finger tight, and I'm just gonna zip it on. I'm gonna torque it. Yep.
To spec.
Ah!
Okay, get down.
I'm brake cleaning this off because, you know, there's packing oils and whatnot on these basically to keep them rusting.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna brake clean this, get it nice and clean, and then put the clutch on. Just grab the little baby clutch. I like how tiny it is. I believe it goes like this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. And then this will go up on the flywheel. All right, now I need to tighten these. I think it's a 10 or a 12, probably a 10.
10 or 12?
Just a little bit tight. You know, you're supposed to torque all these down to like spec, but I'm just gonna torque it a tickle past tight, so. Because we broke one of these off in here once. It was lovely. And this exact flywheel, to be exact, which is funny. But we got it out actually, and so it's going back in with all the bolts now. Wow, that's pretty much an achievement, you know. When something goes back in with all the bolts.
It means you didn't misplace anything and you feel like you did the project successfully.
Yeah. Because you almost always end up with extra bolts at the end, which we probably will, still.
Just means you were efficient, right?
And this didn't come with a alignment tool, so here's a trick. Find a socket that literally is the perfect size. See that socket? Fits in there perfectly and it centers it. We use a 13 mil and it's like the perfect diameter. So, and we use an extension so we can just pull it out once this is tight. Now we should have no problem getting our transmission in there. It's the next morning, guys, and we stopped last night because I installed a little throw-up bearing pusher. I guess you would call that the clutch fork. I installed it upside down, so we had to go buy some punches and get it out of there. So, got some punches. And now we've got also a transmission jack. He bought that yesterday, and we figured, honestly, rather than struggling, we could throw it on there and lift it up in there. So, wish us luck. As usual, we forget where all the bolts are, and so we struggle with trying to find all the bolts to put it back together, but we got it most of the way back together. I mean, the transmission's in there. That's all looking good. Now we just need to put the starter in and start putting, you know, the axles in and everything, then filling up the transmission with oil. So that's the next on the agenda, but for now, we're gonna go get something to eat. And I'll be back on this. It'll just be me, because Jacob's gonna go do some stuff.
2 hours later.
With the help of my friend Natasha over there, we got it all put together. Well, at least as far as we can tell. We just need to tighten some stuff down, like suspension and axle bolts, but we're not worried about that right now. Or axle nuts, let me correct myself. Now, what we gotta do is put some oil in the transmission, some gear oil, which I have somewhere around here. Guess what, guys? The battery died on the camera, so we just worked on it and got it fixed. So everything's back together, everything's torqued like it should be, and let's see if it starts. Now we're going to take it for a drive. This will be the first time driving this since the last time I drove it. Now this transmission is meant for a Sentra, and so it doesn't like to, well, I'm getting a feel for this clutch. It's different than what I'm used to. This is a Sentra transmission, so I think it is a little different, and it pops out of 5th gear, unfortunately, but that's just part of it. If you put it in 5th gear, you just kind of got to hold it in 5th gear. Oh yeah, it feels pretty good. We got the carburetor all dialed in with the help of Natasha here. She's the camera lady right now. She's amazing. So I'm not a carburetor guru, she definitely is. So now, one thing about the suspension is pretty clapped out right now, unfortunately, so it's very bang. So you'll see that here in a minute. Oh, bouncy. Check it out, guys. Driving great. I got Colin on the wheels, or behind the wheels. And we still need to get the speedometer hooked back up. It's not working, nor is the tachometer, but the tachometer hasn't worked since I got the car, so, and we can't figure out why it doesn't work. If you guys have any ideas, let us know. But it's driving great, man. I love it. Love the radio in this. Very vintage looking. Works great as well. The clock is really neat. The old LCD style. But yeah, pretty good stuff. All right, guys, we wrapped up the Pulsar, or at least for now. It still needs a few things like an alignment, and honestly, it pops out a fifth. So there's a couple, you know, iffy things about the car, but other than that, it runs and drives. Now, I think the long-term goal for this car is to swap the engine out for an engine from a Sentra SER, because it says the SR20 DET, I think it is, and that would be way cooler than the car engine, the engine that it has now, because the engine that it has now has no aftermarket support. There's not a lot of parts for it. Transmission's really not that good. So I think that is the goal, is to swap it out. But it's been sitting for a minute since I recorded the last clip, and I'm not sure if it starts. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the JF.WEGWO to start her up, because it's probably dead. It's been like a week or two since it's just sitting here, just because I've been driving the Accord and the other Civic and whatnot, so I haven't really had a lot of time to drive this. So let's see if it'll start with the jump starter, because honestly, that thing has been flawless with me. I've had no issues using it. I love it. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a cheap or relatively inexpensive for the money jump pack. I recommend getting the JF.WEGWO. It works good. You know, so let's see if it works. Let's pop this hood. All right, guys, I've got the battery charger hooked up. I actually have it unhooked from the battery because the battery actually still has a charge. So we're just going to test out the charger, and it's at 100%, as you can see. And let's see how it does. Oh yeah, plenty of battery. Will it start? It's been a while since I've started it. There we go. She started right up. Not bad. Not bad. Running and driving. Though I think I knocked out my throttle. I need to put that back on, but that's not that big a deal. Pretty sweet. Runs great. Oh yeah. Too bad the transmission's kind of meh. Oh. It doesn't idle when it's cold extremely well. All right, well that's it. I saw a little spark on the coil there. Oh, it's a little loose. Let's put that back on. All right, cool. We're good. Let's go ahead and hook the battery back up since we know it works. And then I'll get that throttle cable fixed. And after starting the car, it still shows 100%. So got a lot of capacity in this puppy. I bet I could start like this car like 10 times or more probably with this one battery and it not be an issue. So freaking sweet. And on the subject of the giveaway from the last video, I'm going to go ahead and post in a community post here in a few days who will win that giveaway. I'm going to do 10, and the cat says hi. He's being very needy. But I'm going to do 10 giveaways, send it out to 10 random people from the last video. So I definitely recommend going back and checking out the video that I did. I think it turned out pretty well. Went to a Honda meet and got to see a lot of Honda cars, which is freaking awesome. There's a lot of really cool people. I can't wait to take my Del Sol and my EF again, and when they're even nicer. So pretty excited about that. But yeah, go ahead and let me know what you think about the SR20 swap. I think that would be sweet in this car. Now I'll probably have to sell a few of my cars before I get to that point, because I've got to, you know, get the funds, you know, for that. But I think it's going to be a freaking awesome project once we get to it. But it runs and drives right now. And that's all you could really ask for, so at least for me. I'm learning as I go about all these cars, and I'm getting better and better tools, and that's all you can really do. I mean, if I can do it, you guys can do it, that's for sure. I'm no expert. I'll even own up to that myself. I'm not an expert at cars at all. I rely a lot on my friends and family, mainly my friends. They're like my family, to help me out and give me advice. And of course, you guys in the comments, you guys have helped me a lot with a lot of things, with your suggestions and whatnot. And I really appreciate everybody for watching and commenting. And I will talk to you guys later. See you guys next time.